This weekend I lost somebody who I was very close to many years ago in my previous career in the police. Somebody who, if you were to put a list out there of who would end it all, he would have been at the bottom of that list. He was larger than life. He was, everything was done with his heart. People shouldn't have liked him for the way he was, but everybody loved him. He was an absolute giant. And that was part of the problem, I think. He was an alpha. He was he was at the top. And he couldn't see that there was any other option than to end his life. And it breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart that somebody like that couldn't see how much he was loved. There are cops crying all over Cheshire at this moment in time because Paoli's gone. But blokes, when are we going to learn that we can put our hands up? When are we going to learn that there is somebody out there who will step up and help us, and all we have to do is raise our hand? I'm not talking about the organisations. I'm not talking about welfare. I'm talking about people around you. I know for a fact that if he'd have put his hand up and asked for help, it wasn't his way, but if he had, there would have been 100 people at his door. Literally 24 hours before we were commenting on each other's social media as we normally would. And he didn't think that he could reach out to anybody. And this is a huge male problem. This is a huge ego problem that still to this day, even 5, 6, 7 years after I had my breakdown, that we are not opening up enough. Now I have learned that we can do that as men. But it breaks my heart that somebody so big and so full of life, and he won't have been the only one that day to do it, that we are losing so many people because we feel like there are no options out there. There's a radio advert at the moment going on about where people go quiet on group messages. If people's behaviour is perhaps out of the norm, if they're not being as social as perhaps they normally are. And I think it's really important. I only realised the importance of that after Sunday morning. And I don't really know why. I have no script for this video. I have no ulterior motive apart from just to try and get something out of my head on this video that we need to start doing more for each other. We can have all the HR welfare in the world in places that we work for, but they are just machines, and the corporate identity doesn't care. So we've got to start looking out for each other a little bit more. I had a wonderful phone call from my old inspector who helped me turn myself around after my dad died. Without him, I have no idea quite where my life would have gone. Now, I've never been suicidal. I've never had those thoughts, but I've been very, very, very dark and very bad places. And it's people like that who we owe so much to. And I know for a fact it won't have been the only one, the only person that he's phoned. And with all his heart, he's very sincere in the fact that any one of his previous officers can phone him up. Now, I said that's a monumental effort, because all too often we get caught up in our own world, in our own problems, in our own life, and we don't stop to think that maybe just a little phone call or maybe just a little message will help somebody. So I paid it forward a little bit this afternoon, and I phoned somebody up who I hadn't spoken to for must be a good 12 years. She was an ex-cop at the time that I worked with Paoli. And just a 10-minute chat, and she's back in the fold talking to other cops, old cops who we'd all lost contact with. And this was a time when cops looked after each other, when there wasn't the backstabbing, when there wasn't the corporate identity, when cops had each other's backs, when you knew when you went into battle with one of them by your side, they were right there. That you would do everything you could to help each other out, whether it was in your private life or your work life. But that's gone now, and that's gone for an awful lot of people. So we need to start paying attention a little bit more to individuals. And if behavior is out of the ordinary, pop them a message. Now, I don't think it would have made any difference in the last few hours before Pauli died, because somebody was with him less than 12 hours before he did it. But I do know that it can make a big difference to so many other people. That little message, "Hiya mate, how are you doing? Fancy a brew? Hiya mate, you've been a bit quiet. Anything I can do to help you?" will make such a massive difference for these people. Because I know when I was at my worst, I didn't answer those text messages, but they meant so much to me. And they make such a big difference to people who are right on the edge. So have a little think about those people who perhaps you haven't heard from a while, and just a little text of, "Hiya mate, how are you? You've been a bit quiet," or "Sorry I've not been in contact. Just thought I'd pop you a message, see how you are." You don't have to invite them out for a brew. Just that contact, knowing that somebody is there, can be the difference. Just a few things to think about in this time where I'm thinking an awful lot about it.